You figured it out alone. Again, there were three people who could have helped in 20 minutes. You didn't ask. That's not independence. That's a body that learned needing things from people was a gamble that rarely paid off. Picture a child reaching with a need, hungry, scared, overwhelmed, and the hand that should have come either didn't arrive, arrived annoyed, or arrived and made the child feel that asking was the wrong move. It only has to happen enough times. The child stops reaching, starts solving, builds a self that requires as little from others as possible, and calls it strength. Psychologists call it avoidant attachment, a defensive self-sufficiency that forms when caregivers are unreliable. The defense works, and it costs everything. Here is what it still costs you. The first sign is that asking feels physically wrong, like swallowing something the wrong way. I'll just handle it arrives as a reflex, faster than thought. You don't weigh the options. Asking isn't really on the table. What sits under that reflex is not confidence. It is an old prediction that asking will produce rejection, irritation, or the specific humiliation of needing something and watching someone make you feel small for it. You learned that prediction from specific people, but your nervous system filed it under everyone. So everyone gets the version of you that doesn't need anything, and you get to carry it alone. This isn't strength. This is what happens when a child's needs were an inconvenience to the people who were supposed to want to meet them. If that is familiar, leave a 1 in the comments. But the second sign is what that costs you in your closest relationships. The second sign is that you resent people for not helping, even though you never told them you needed it. You're drowning. Quietly. Competently. Waiting furiously for someone to notice and offer without being asked. They don't. The resentment builds, not at the situation, at them, for not seeing through the performance you built to hide the need. You cannot ask, but you cannot stop needing. So you need in silence and keep score in private. The people around you see someone self-contained and fine. You see people who are absent and uncaring. Neither of you is entirely wrong, but only one of you built the wall. This isn't their failure. This is what happens when a child stopped asking but never stopped needing and brought both habits into every relationship. The third sign is that you are excellent at helping others and unable to receive it. Someone offers. You deflect. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Not because you don't want the help, because receiving it triggers something. When you help, you are in control. When someone helps you, the power shifts. And somewhere in you, that shift has always felt like danger. Psychologist John Bowlby documented how early attachment patterns determine not just whether we seek help, but whether we can tolerate receiving it. You can give endlessly. Receiving shuts something down. This isn't humility. This is what happens when being needed felt safe and being needy felt like a threat. If that one landed, leave a 2 in the comments. What comes next is the sign that does the most damage. Now stop for a second. Handling everything alone is not a personality. It is a protection built around a wound. You decided early from real evidence that needing things was unsafe. That decision kept you functional. It also kept you isolated in a way that is hard to name. Because from the outside, you look completely fine. The last sign is where that isolation becomes impossible to outrun. The fourth sign, and the deepest one, is that you don't know what you need anymore. You've spent so long not asking that you've lost access to the asking itself. Not just the words, the awareness underneath them. What do you need right now? Sit with that. Notice how the question feels like a foreign language. You can list what others need with precision. Your own needs are blurred, deferred, converted into tasks that can be handled rather than felt. This is the final cost. Not just that you don't get help, it's that the part of you that knows what help would even look like has gone quiet from disuse. You carry everything, indefinitely, alone. Not because you are strong, because you stopped believing there was any other option. Here is what is actually true. Asking doesn't reveal weakness. It reveals need, which is not the same thing. The shift is one small ask this week, and letting someone respond without managing their reaction for them. The second false belief is that people will find your needs burdensome. Some will. Those are not your people. Let the ask be the filter, rather than pre-filtering everyone before they get the chance. The third false belief is that self-sufficiency protects you. It doesn't. It just ensures you fail privately. Letting someone help you is not surrender. It is the one thing that makes a relationship real. It started with a child who reached and got burned enough times to stop reaching. That child became someone who handles everything, needs nothing visibly, and quietly accumulates the cost of both. The friendships that stayed shallow, because you never let anyone pass the capable exterior. The relationships where you gave everything and received nothing because you made receiving impossible. The exhaustion of being your own only resource for problems that were never meant to be solved alone. What would change? Not tomorrow, not after some long process. If you finally let someone help you carry the thing you have been dragging alone since you were small enough that no one should have let you carry it at all. Send this to someone who always says they're fine, because they're probably the person who needs it most and would never ask for it.